I got 21 bullets inside of this clip and I'm ready to unload this bitch.
Oh, now I know why they chose that song for the video, for the social media video when they was on the red carpet. And I had to get dressed for this. I got like my suspenders on like they did in the 30s, but a little spice on it, you know, a little spice on it, because I went to a screening for Sinners, and when I tell y'all that movie was so good, y'all, so good. Oh my gosh, I am so excited to talk to y'all about this movie. I'm gonna try to keep the first little portion of this like spoiler free, and then I'm gonna warn y'all when we get into the nitty-gritty, cause y'all can come back when you see it, because you gonna want to discuss it. Let's break this down. Y'all know I do my pros, my cons, and a rating, and I'm also just gonna give you guys like a explanation of the messaging, or my perception or my understanding of the messaging, or in this case messages that I think were delivered in the film. So with that being said, let's just set some groundwork. So this movie takes place in the Jim Crow era. It's the 1930s, and Clarksdale, Mississippi is where the movie is taking place. Our main characters are Michael B. Jordan as Smoke and Michael B. Jordan as Stack. They are brothers, and they have returned to Mississippi after spending some time in Chicago. They have returned into Mississippi, their hometown, and they are opening a juke joint. They've come into some money, and they are opening a juke joint for the Black community during this time. So with that being said, I will tell everybody, you're going to be uncomfortable if you're not pro-Black. That's just what it is. To get into a general reaction or review for this film, I'm going to start with the storyline. The storyline really was a intersection of so many things. So when you look at the messaging in the storyline, you have these, like, I would say pillars, and those pillars would be, I think initially off rip, you have religion and spirituality. That's a pillar. I feel like that's a message. It's a message there about that. You have obviously racism, because we're in the Jim Crow era. So this is like really steering the decision making and the interactions in this film, and the characters in this film. This is their life, and in that we have a message about freedom and obtaining freedom. The other pillar I would say is about following your dreams, and we really explore that with the main character, Sam, who wants to be a famous blues musician, a successful blues musician. And he's very talented. The last pillar, I would say, is the horror kind of aspect of it, and being united in evil is something that came up for me. The last pillar, the fourth pillar, I would define it like as unity, and what that looks like and what that means. Unity and family. That's what I would say. So yeah, so those are like the pillars that I think are upholding the storyline in this film, and the foundation of what you're going to see when you watch Sinners. That's basically, I would say, the premise of the storyline. I think it is super creative. I think Ryan Coogler like did his big one with this. It's so his ability to connect all of these things is crazy, because it's all such heavy topics. Like, it's when I say it out loud, I can't really wrap my mind around finding a balance of all of those topics and dealing with all of those topics. And I think he found the perfect way to satisfy each aspect that he wanted to incorporate in this movie. Each of those topics can be so heavy and can carry a script, can carry a character's motivation alone. Next, I want to get into a topic I don't really typically do, but like, I would be remiss not to mention the energy in this film. And this is like not, I'm not even speaking like spiritually or religiously, but just emotional energy was so heavy in this film, like so heavy. And to the point that like I found myself shaking, like towards like the second half of the film, or I would even say the last like quarter of the film. I found myself like, when Smoke was shaking, I was shaking, like literally. I was like, I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, why am I shaking? Because like, I don't like, I know we all still getting to know each other, YouTube family, but like, I don't really scare that easily as far as movies are concerned, that much anymore. But I found my body like physically reacting to this movie. And that could have just been a me thing. We're all entitled to our own experience, but for me, that said a lot about that there was some meat to this film. There was some weight to this film beyond the obvious. And I gotta give props for that, because like, it was an involuntary reaction for me, like shaking in the theater, like my legs, y'all, was like shaking, like. And you can see in the trailer, so this isn't really a spoiler, but you can see in the trailer, one of the twins is like sitting down and he's like visibly shaking. And like, I'm watching this, right? And I've been shaking like 2 or 3 minutes before this part even came up. And he comes on the screen and he's shaking. And I'm like I was in the movie with this character, and that's how it made you feel. You were in it with them. You were at the edge of your seat with them. Like, and that brings me a good segue into my next topic, just how this film was shot. I know that was a big deal just on social media, because Ryan Coogler had talked about the different aspect ratios and the different types of film used when recording movies. I was tuned into that when I went to go see this movie. I was trying to decide, I was trying to understand or detect a pattern for why he decided to film certain scenes like the widescreen, and then certain scenes with the full screen kind of look, the IMAX aspect ratio that he discussed in that explanation video. And I will tie this back to the storyline. It was just so much going on that, y'all, I couldn't keep up with the pattern. And to be honest, if we weren't in such a like quick-paced society where we need everything right away, y'all wouldn't have got this video today, because I want to see this movie again, because I want to pay attention to the details this time. So the angles, all that to say, it was just like, it really helped set the aesthetic for the film, with it being in the 1930s, the cotton field, allowing us to see the landscape, helping the viewer know what to focus on, what to center on, really setting the scene. We see in the trailer, one of the antagonists drops, and like the screen is wide, and we can see like it's in the middle of nowhere. It's just this one house, and he like drops and is like scurrying, like frantic. That scene really stood out to me, just how we can see the views of the sky, the dusk till dawn. And I think views of the sky are so important and really lend well to a story about vampires. When we think about like creatures, vampires and werewolves, you know, the sun and the moon are just really connected to those creatures, and we're used to that. And so his ability to emphasize that at certain points in the film is something I would love to look at more. I'm not sure. And I'm sure it'll be more interviews. Hopefully one day I get to be one, y'all. I tried to get an interview, but I need y'all to like, share, subscribe for this stuff, because numbers are what matter, and numbers help me get better opportunities and content for you guys, and be able to ask the questions from the sources that you guys want to know. And I am a journalist, like I have a degree. But unfortunately, today with social media, that's not enough. You have to have, and I get it, they want as many eyes on stuff as possible. You have to have the numbers. So guys, help me get the numbers. So just make sure you click the links when you get the chance. Make sure you're subscribing to my YouTube channel and all that good stuff, because that is what helps. And I'm happy to pass appropriate questions along when I get those chances. And like I said, the movie is so complexly detailed, but in a good way. It's complex where it's like, okay, yeah, you gotta sit with it. And I told you in another video, I love stuff like that. I love movies that provoke your mind and evoke emotion and make you want to talk about it. Because when I got out that screen and I was on the phone, I was like, that movie was good. If you want to go see it again, I'll go with you to see it again. All that to say, it was filmed incredibly creatively, and the aesthetic was like, I can see it in my head, like the aesthetic. I don't quite know how to describe it, but he talked about like using like old film kind of style to record, and I definitely could kind of detect that in this. But I do feel like we had like almost like a pale blue tint kind of carrying us through, and then there were those scenes that were more vibrant, and then we had like yellow hues. If we get into color, this is more color than like angles, but if we get into like yellow hues, as warmer hues as the night falls. Play with fire and the vampires being out at night, and then we get this yellow kind of like filtered cast over the film, was just very interesting to me, and lent to each other very well, if you guys get what I'm saying there. I think there was some symbolism definitely throughout, some like foreshadowing, the snake trying to bite the devil, references of the devil, and then we have the snake, and then we have Christianity. You know, Adam and Eve, Satan took the form of a serpent in the book of Genesis, and so they incorporated a snake with the twins, and the main character Sam, like they incorporated that. And I think the mentions about the devil, the tie-in with spirituality and Christianity, that was just like good symbolism there. The blood of the snake, him kind of being like almost severed, I think that was kind of a foreshadowing of the violence that was to come that night. Their use of humor as well was just very well done. And it definitely kept things lighthearted in the beginning before things got serious at night. Because I'm telling y'all, it was pretty lighthearted during the day. It had a couple of like moments because we were learning the backstories of the characters. But for the most part, they kept it light during the day, and things got heavy and heated and crazy at night. It's a scene where there's black smoke that was pretty symbolic of just like evil was kind of coming. I don't know, I'm a Supernatural fan, guys, the show Supernatural, so I associate black smoke with demons, and that's like the first thing I thought about. And also they incorporated hoodoo in this, so just all of that I just felt like led to the energy in the film as well, and the symbolism in the film. The color white was used a lot as a like form of, as a symbol of purity in this. People were in the church dressed in all white. There was an ending scene where white kind of came into play again as like an indicator of heaven. So a lot of symbolism going on, and I'm sure I didn't catch everything. If you guys caught any of other things, please let me know in the comments. I love learning from you guys as well. But those were just a few of the things that stood out to me. I think you guys kind of already know I'm rating this film a 6 out of 5 flames. Like, this film was So good. I completely get why it got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was so good, and I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 flames for What's Hot vlog. You guys know I don't think I've given anything that yet. It was really a 6 out of 5 flames. Like, it was above and beyond. And if you don't want to take my word for it, like, when I can vouch that when I was leaving out of that screening, it was a woman next to me who she was talking to someone else, and she said this was the movie of the year. She said that. So it wasn't just me. The crowd gave it a double round of applause when it, like, twice, like, towards the ending of the movie. So people really enjoyed it. It was just really well done on so many aspects, and I could really talk about it for a long time. But okay, so for the people that didn't watch it, all right, now we gotta get into the nitty gritty. This is your exit. Let me give you a moment to exit. Okay. You know what I wasn't expecting? The little raunchy jokes, the little raunchy scenes. Like, I knew it was gonna be a little bit just because what we saw in the trailer. But what's her name? Pearly Ann being married and getting top. That was not on my list. I didn't think she was gonna be married. I mean, we can see she was gonna get something in the trailer, but I didn't know she was gonna be married. That was wild. Then we got Annie and Michael B. Jordan. Shoot, Michael B. Jordan's character Smoke. They was getting it in. I said, ooh, not over the hoodoo, not over the spices and the herbs and the roots. Like, that was wild. And it was also so sad that they had lost a child together. And him and his brother kind of just ran. So, like, the messages that I talked about earlier, let's talk about that really quickly. This idea, this concept of freedom was touched on a lot in the film, and it was like a desire that I think Smoke and Stack really, really had, in which it really led to most of their decision making. And I think what it boils down to, they wanted better for themselves, and I think they honestly wanted better for their people. They hit that lick in Chicago to get the money to buy the juke joint, right? So they could have went anywhere, for real. They could have went anywhere with that money, but they brought it back home. And they wanted more money, and they were trying to flip it and, like, invest it, but they wanted to be surrounded by their loved ones, and they wanted to create a place for their loved one. And I think the juke joint represented freedom, not just financial freedom for them and independence from having to work in the fields and stuff like that, but freedom in the sense of, when the day is done, we can come here, we can let loose, we can have a good time. We are free from the struggles that's out there during this Jim Crow period. So that carried a lot of I think was the motivator for the characters here, was that freedom. I really do. And even down to Sam, he wanted the freedom to play his music, chasing his dream, which I think is another pillar in the film. The idea of chasing your dreams, and despite what other people say. And I think him, Sam, and Smoke and Stack both they had different dreams, but they both were making sacrifices for those dreams. They both were tuning out the opinions of others to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, despite how their friends and family may view them. And I think that was another big message in the film. They took a risk for something greater. And we see how that plays out in Sam's life, because he ends up going back to the church. His dad was a priest. He ends up going back to the church for his dad after the whole crazy night with the vamps. He survived. He ends up going back to his dad, but then his dad still is asking him to put down the music, and he can't let it go. He can't let it go. And I actually would have considered letting it go, considering I just found out that my music is opening, piercing the veil. And that was another scene that was crazy. So when they in the juke joint, right, and Sam starts singing, and you see the integration of the spirits from the past and the future kind of all come into one place. That was like so captivating, such a captivating moment in the film. And I think it also it lends a message, overall message, about the power in the Black community, how our history has so much power, how our music has so much power. It kind of touches on that a little bit, about our power and our ability to do more than we could ever imagine. And I think it hits on that not only from a cultural perspective, but from a spiritual perspective, as far as the hoodoo is concerned, and where, what our roots are in, as being rooted from Africa, like what our roots are in and what it's all connected to. I find that stuff so like interesting. And Christianity as well, like how it comes into play, and how that conflict between the two. I believe that there is supernatural power out there, and I think that we can tap into more as the Black community. We can tap into more than what we realize. I truly believe that, and I believe that over time, society has tried to prohibit that because it can be an issue for them. And I think it can be an issue as far as like, they don't want us to get the one up. It's specifically, let me stick to the movie, specifically as far as like white supremacy. Because the hoodoo is what really protected Smoke in this, and it was talked about multiple times. So that part was really powerful to me. Although we didn't have many survivors in the movie, it was definitely a inspiration to fight back. I feel like to fight back against the hate, to fight back against the division that we as a Black community often face and deal with. Like I said, it kept coming up for me being united in evil, because the original vampires, the three who approached the juke joint, were Klan members. So specifically the couple, they were Klan members. That was obvious. We don't really know where the lead vampire, what his takes were, but I'm sure it was probably the same. But they wanted the Black community to join them. So I just thought that was very interesting, because it's almost like the vampirism is a new sense of freedom. And that's that concept that coming into play. Is that like what everyone wants, that sense of freedom? And what road are you willing to take to get it? It was also could be looked at in a different angle, like a messaging about other communities bringing the Black community down. I kind of thought about that too. I don't know. I would love to again watch this again, but that kind of crossed my mind too. Like, is it a message about society bringing the black culture down, the majority bringing the minority down, further oppression, because they weren't happy until they had all of them. They weren't happy. The lead vampire wanted them all. He didn't want to settle. He was willing to wait to get them all, to oppress them all with his demonic ways. Last episode was some great quotes in here. The initial Bible quote, 1 Corinthians 10:13, about just, God's faithfulness, that stood out to me. And then the realtor who sold them the juke joint saying the Klan don't exist no more. And everybody in the movie had the same reaction, like, yeah, right, the Klan still exists in freaking 2025. Like, the Klan don't exist no more. Okay. And then the twins, one of Michael B. Jordan's characters, spoke about how he believed that money gives you power. And it was that connection to power is money is power, power is freedom. So that idea is just circulating throughout the film of how can people find freedom. I was so mad too at the Asian lady for inviting them in. And then she was the first one to die, you freaking idiot. Now your daughter really not gonna have nobody. Nobody's coming home for her. Why would you do that? I also like going back to Sam having the gifts to like his music helped pierce the veil, and him still deciding and having the courage to continue to play is crazy. I know it was a connection with him and the guitar a little bit as well, but just his courage to continue to play after that. And I think that is linked to him saying that prior to everything going topsy-turvy, that was the best day of his life because he was doing what he loved. Okay, and I'm gonna wrap this up, but the last thing I want to touch on is the ending. So the machine guns, because I told y'all, I get why they said I got 31 bullets inside of this clip and I'm ready to unload it, right? I get why they said that, because he lit him up. Baby, he lit him up. He lit him up. He lit him up. He lit him up. Oh my gosh. Like, first of all, it was crazy that was a setup from the jump. You take these men's money, right? Only for you to plan. You already lied. Like I said, he told them the clan don't exist no more, because they already told him, they said, if you and your clan folk come on our property, we done paid you now. We done paid you in full cash money. If you and your clan members come on our property, that's it. So you've been warned. And you lied. You said the clan don't exist. Whole time your nephew is a clan member. And you was planning on bringing everybody in, killing them all. Got you. Well, we already done been through hell, so bring it on. Bring it on. I'm going to wait. Take off my little poopsie bag. Let's go. Let's go. And Michael B. Jordan played his role, okay? He played, all the cast members did like an excellent job. But Michael B. Jordan, is like, the range is crazy. And he played that role. Like, the demeanor, the energy, so hot. Like, he did that. He did that. Mary, when she turned Stack into a vampire, crazy scene also. Like, they was getting it in. The next thing you know, like, he was bleeding. She bit the heck out of him. Like, they weren't just, like, putting, like, you know, Hollywood, a lot of times it's just, like, two fangs going in, drinking the blood. No, they was taking chunks out of people. They was bites. They wasn't, like, a little nibble, a little cute. But they was taking chunks out of people. People was bleeding hard. So it was just a lot going on, but that movie was crazy good. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed this movie, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love talking to you guys about movies and stuff, so please let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you guys next time.